Welcome to Build For It. I'm your host, Bryn Harris. I'm feeling all of you multi-passionate creatives out there and early entrepreneurs. I know you got more ideas than time, you got more ambition than bandwidth, and you're trying to figure out what to build first without sacrificing the joyful life that you're building it for. Well, you are in the right place at the right time. Oh my God, I love to research what actually works. The patterns, codes, the connective tissue between the disciplines. I'm here trying to synthesize project management with neuroscience and the performing arts to help you build the capacity, not just to reach your goals, but to sustain the role that your future is already asking of you. Every episode, I'm going to go deep so you can keep it light. I give you one practical tool that helps you build your week right. Thank you so much for joining me. Now let's get built for it. All right, hard hats on. It's build day. That's right. Coffee's hot, the shop's open. Let's build something. Monday, we decided that this week was about a certain intention. Tuesday, we built a plan that could actually support it. Today, the plan has to earn that paycheck, right? Because calendars are wonderful. Calendars have never recorded the podcast, though. Calendar never had to paint the painting. Calendar has never had the difficult conversation. You do. So today, your intention has to become visible. It has to ride like a frequency. One of my favorite things about builders is that they know the difference between talking about the house and putting the first board on the foundation. You know what I'm saying? Nobody frames a house by staring at a blueprint all day. I wish. Oh, God, I wish. At some point, somebody picks up a hammer. That's Wednesday. That's build day. If it's going to be a build day, might as well get it done on Wednesday, right? Here's something that makes me laugh. I can convince myself I am making tremendous progress by buying another notebook. I got 42 planners, but the journal ain't one. No. I got a new pen. I got new highlighters. Suddenly I'm convinced this is the notebook that's finally going to change my life. That's one. I need this one, the mermaid one. That's the one. The one that says affirmations that I can look at every day. That's the right planner. The pages were waiting for me the whole time. Listen, the notebook has very little to do with it if you really think about it, right? It's the system that you create to get you past the more willing than able. It's the able part. One of the reasons I like listening to James Clear is because he keeps bringing the conversation back to identity. Small actions repeated consistently eventually become evidence. It's true. I'd like to borrow one word from that idea, though. Evidence. Not motivation. Not inspiration. Evidence. Builders leave evidence behind. Construction crews leave walls. Chefs leave dinner. Writers leave pages. Gardeners leave tomatoes. Editors leave cleaner stories. Massage therapists leave people moving differently. Teachers leave students asking better questions. Builders leave evidence. That's how you know they were there. One of the reasons I enjoy neuroscience is because your brain is constantly asking one question. Who are we becoming? Right? It doesn't answer that question by listening to your goals either. It answers by watching your repetitions. Yes, we are what we do. Yes, we are what we say. If those two things do not correlate, we are also that thing that inaccuracy has whatever that's called. You're that. I guess a liar. That's what the word we use. But it can be an unknown. I didn't realize that that's what I was putting out into the world. Today's repetition becomes tomorrow's identity. That's why build day matters, right? Not because Wednesday is magical, because Wednesday gives your nervous system something real to remember. So, okay, here's something I learned from directing actors. There comes a moment in every rehearsal where I stop giving notes. I just simply say, okay, run it. Run it. Because eventually thinking has done its job. The scene needs to just exist. Life works exactly the same way. At some point, you have to stop improving the plan and let the work teach you what comes next. You got to just do it. You got to actually post the podcast in order to immediately learn. Your brain starts working fast when you start becoming embarrassed about what you look like on screen. Whether or not you're communicating what you think and what you thought you're communicating. All of a sudden you become the worst troll, right? You're like, what's it? God, just get to the point, girl. You just like go like this, cringe, 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 right? You have to stop improving the plan and let the work teach you what comes next. So, here's today's lesson. Build something that did not exist when you woke up. One thing, not your entire business, not your entire life, one tangible piece of evidence, a page, proposal, a workout, a recorded episode, a finished sketch, a started sketch, a difficult conversation, something your future self can point at tonight and say, I built that. I built that. That's what today is about. Builder's bench. So before we leave this first section, here's what I'm building today. I'm recording podcast episodes, right? They're not perfect. Some of them will need another take. Oh, some jokes won't land. Some ideas will get rewritten 6 months from now. For sure. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the fact that I am doing something called Built for It, and I'm showing you the build. Because today isn't performance day. Even though I'm being witnessed, it's an open rehearsal process, right? It's build day. My job is to leave fingerprints, not perfection. So here's your assignment. Clock in, build one thing. Well, we'll worry about the polishing it up. Oh, tomorrow, all of that. Let's head into rehearsal. Okay. All right. 2 belts on. We're heading into rehearsal. One of the funniest things about actors is that they all secretly believe they can think their way into a better performance. Oh, I just want to sit in this. I've watched it for years. They've got the script. They've highlighted the script. They've written notes in the margins. They've made a playlist for the character. They're listened to before they do it. They've journaled from the character's point of view. It's wonderful. That's actually great. Then rehearsal starts and the director says, great, show me. And it's like, because eventually the body has to vote. It has to. That's what they talk about. Your nervous system has to catch up with you. I think entrepreneurs do exactly the same thing. We're amazing at preparing color-coded notebooks, brand boards, mood boards, vision boards, Pinterest boards, some point boards. You've built more boards than businesses. We've all done it. It's funny because it's true. Blah. One of my favorite directing notes is only 2 words. Put it up. Put it up. Not perfect. Not perfect it. Not think about it. Put it up. Let's see it. Let's get it on stage. Put it on stage. Let's discover something. You can't direct an imaginary performance. You can't direct you. I wish. Wouldn't that be great? Everybody does exactly how your imagination tells everybody to do it. You need something to work with. Life keeps teaching me that same lesson. Version 1 is remarkably generous. It gives you something real to improve. Let's play. I want you to think about the thing that you've been planning. The website, the painting, the workout, the proposal, the podcast. Good. Got it? Okay, now answer one question. What's the ugliest first version that would still count? not the polished version, the first honest version. Because, builders understand something beautiful. Concrete gets poured before the walls get painted, babe. You gotta build the foundation before you start decorating. Bottom line, you gotta be a builder. I know people who have spent 6 months choosing a font. I think I've been that person. Meanwhile, somebody else used AI, made $200,000, right? And changed the font later. They changed it 3 times later because they asked people what they liked best and they literally did what the customer asked them to do. Fonts matter. Customers matter more though, right? The logo matters, but the service matters more. The camera matters, but pressing record matters more. Making sure your sound's on matters more. Version 1 has an incredible sense of humor. Oh, girl, I am cringing already, and I'm only 6 episodes up. But it keeps proving that action beats polish. One of my favorite exercises from directing is give me one choice. Give me one choice. Don't give me 17. Actors often bring in 30 ideas, right? Okay. Give me one. That's great. That was a lot. Let's one, and then we build from there. Trying to make every choice at once usually creates really a lot of confusion. Everybody's like, they weren't ready for it. They didn't time it out the exact way you were supposed to do it. I mean, you got the whole timing planned before anybody else is even on board, right? Okay, so today's build, it works exactly the same way. Don't build everything. Build one thing. Set a timer. 25 minutes, one build. No editing, no researching, no reorganizing your desk, no checking if somebody liked your last post. 25 minutes, hands moving. These are the doers. These are the goers. This is the beer. We are not being right now. We are going and doing. One build, no editing, no researching, no reorganizing your desk, no checking if somebody liked your last post. 25 minutes, hands moving. That's it. When the timer goes off, stand up. Walk away. Then come back and look at what exists. I bet you'll smile. Not because it's finished, but because it's real, right? It's real. You're like, that's okay. One of the reasons I admire chefs, right, is because dinner eventually has to leave the kitchen. It has to. There's a deadline. Nobody gathers around the stove saying, one more month and this pasta could just really become something. People are hungry, yo. They ship the pasta. Ship la pasta. Tomorrow you'll make another one. Builders understand rhythm. Rhythm. Here's another game. We'll call this one the Ugly First Draft Championship. Today's goal is not excellence. Today's goal is eligibility. You can't edit a blank page. You can't improve a podcast you never recorded. You can't sell a product that doesn't exist. Version 1 gets you into the tournament. Everything after that is coaching. You have admission, but you got to play the game. Today's rehearsal ends with one sentence. It's built enough to teach me something. It's built enough to teach me something. That's all we're after. Evidence. I know. Can you tell I'm a crime lover? Fingerprints, momentum. Tomorrow, someone else gets to experience what you built. That's where things become really interesting, right? That's witnessing. Okay, you got to ship that scene. You've built something. Now comes the scary part. Somebody else gets to see it. One of my favorite moments in rehearsal is an opening night. It's the first stumble through because there are no costumes, there are no lights, no audience. Somebody just says, okay, let's run it. Let's run the whole thing. And suddenly the thing you've been carrying around in your head has to exist in 3 dimensions in time within the whole story, within the whole container. It's super awkward. People bump into furniture. Lines get dropped. Somebody walks through the wrong door. It's beautiful. It's like, because now we have something real to work with. Now we know where the Swiss cheese is, I like to say. I think business works exactly the same way. The first website, oh God, especially if you used AI. And now everybody's going, get that AI slop out of my vision. You're like, oh God, I'm sorry, just trying to finish it. The first proposal. Get that grant proposal out, man. Get the grant proposal out and then templatize that so that every proposal after that is easier. First logo, the first class, the first podcast, the first Etsy listing. None of them are supposed to win awards. They're supposed to exist. Existence is underrated. Okay, we've all met this person. I've been working on my book for 12 years. Really? Or have you been protecting it for 12 years? I mean, books like being written. Businesses like being launched. Paintings like being painted. Podcasts like being published. The work usually wants to leave the house before we're ready to let it. One of the reasons I love directing is because audience solve problems actors never could. You spend 6 weeks worrying about one tiny little moment, one little thing, and then opening night comes. Nobody mentions it. Not one. Instead, everybody keeps talking about the scene you almost cut. You don't get that information sitting in rehearsal. You can't. You need the audience. The audience teaches you. You have to use the other. Close that circuit. Close the electrical circuit. It's the scary part. You do not know. You cannot control. I don't think feedback is something that happens after the work. I think feedback is part of the work. Builders collect feedback, right? They have to. They're not collecting approval. They're until the end. They're collecting feedback. They're the different things. Approval tells you how somebody felt, right? Feedback teaches you where to build next. Okay, let's play. Imagine you have just built your first website, version 1. You're nervous. Your finger is hovering over the publish button. Your brain starts saying all the usual things. Oh God, what if somebody hates it? I haven't finished this one part. I don't have enough money for a designer, but I did it myself. I did the best I could. Oh, it's not ready. But I have this timeline and I got to make it. What if nobody looks at it? What if what if I should change one more thing? One more thing. Congratulations. You're officially a creator. Because if not, then you're not. We've all had the meeting. Now here's my question. What could another human being teach you that you can't learn staring at the draft? Everything. 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 Every single thing. Everything. That's why we publish. That's why we publish. You being the other is everything. That's why we publish. Here's another game. We're calling this one the coffee shop test, okay? Imagine you're meeting a friend for coffee. They ask, what have you been building? Could you pull out your phone and show them something? A page, a painting, a prototype, a landing page, a sketch, a podcast, anything, not because it's finished. Could you tell them where to go? Could you give them a link? Could you give them a QR code? Could you tell them and say, here's my kids, here's my... because it's alive, not because it's finished. Here's I'm in progress of. Yes, here's where because builders have something to show. So one of the things, in directing audiences, they're incredibly generous. They want the story to work, right? Have you ever sat there? You hope she hits the high note. Oh God, it doesn't sound like she's gonna. You're like, how is she? You want him to. People don't buy a ticket hoping there's a big car crash in the middle of the scene. They came because they were curious. So give them something that's interesting to experience. Perfection is wonderfully patient. right? It will happily wait another 6 months. Evidence gets impatient. Evidence keeps tapping you on the shoulder saying, hit publish, send the email, hang the painting, upload the video. Evidence keeps asking for daylight. So show one person something you made today. Just one person, not the internet, not the world, one human being. Then ask one question. What stood out to you? Don't defend it. Don't explain it. Just listen, right? You just hired your first audience. You're practicing. You are rehearsing. That's rehearsal continuing in real life. Tomorrow we'll step backstage. Tomorrow we're gonna talk to somebody. We're gonna validate it, because once you've built something worth sharing, the next challenge isn't creating again. The next challenge is creating a life that keeps making things long after the excitement wears off, right? You're the stage manager next. You go back to work. So we've spent the day building, not planning, not organizing, building. That's an important distinction, because builders leave fingerprints. So one of the reasons I love working through old workshops and walking through old workshops, like sawdust and paint splatters and worn out handles, coffee rings on the workbench. Somebody was making something there. You don't have to guess. It's the room remembers, right? I think our lives should have that kind of evidence. One of my favorite project and management questions isn't how much got done. It's what's the deliverable. It's simple. What exists now that did not exist this morning? That's build day. Not hours worked, not stress, not effort, deliverables. So we've all had one of those days where we worked for 12 hours, and if somebody asked you, so what did you build? You'd answer, I answered emails. I mean, we've all been there, I get it. Sometimes that's the job. But most of the time, it isn't the thing moving your future forward. Builders know the difference. So before I shut my laptop at the end of the day, I ask one question. What can future Bryn point to? Not what did I think about what exists. A script, a proposal, a sketch, a podcast, a website page, a finished workout, something tangible. And evidence changes the conversation. Project managers call them deliverables. Artists call them work. Chefs call it dinner. Builders call it progress. The language changes, but the principle doesn't. Something real entered the world because you showed up. So before you leave work today, write one sentence. Today's build was. One sentence, that's it. Not a journal, not a novel. One sentence. Tomorrow you'll have another one. A month from now you'll have 30. Suddenly, you're not wondering whether you're making progress. You've got receipts. Collect receipts. So I love craftspeople, people that make things with their hands, because they understand that repetition, right? The 100th bowl is better than the first. The 100th table is better than the first. The 100th haircut, the 100th podcast, the 100th painting. Nobody skips to 100. They build number 2. They build number 3, then number 4. You got to record. Builders respect repetition because repetition quietly builds excellence. So, did something exist today that did not exist yesterday? Yes? Good. Great. Clock out. Go home. Rest. Tomorrow we'll polish. Today we build. Today we built. Okay, here's this week's casting call. I'm looking for someone to become the builder. Somebody who understands that momentum isn't a feeling. It's something you manufacture. One deliverable, one repetition, one ordinary Wednesday, one more piece of evidence. Because extraordinary lives aren't built by extraordinary Wednesdays. They're built by hundreds of ordinary Wednesdays where somebody decided to clock in and leave fingerprints. Tomorrow we're sitting down with someone who has already built something remarkable. I want you to listen for one thing, not what they accomplished, what they kept building when nobody was watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for joining me today. Before you go, I want to ask you one question. What competency are you building today? Because tomorrow is not built on wishes. It is built on what you choose to repeat today. Increase the signal, reduce the noise, and create a safe rehearsal space for the life you're building. If this episode helped, please follow along, join me again next time, and let a bitch know how you're feeling. Engage with me because I want something to audit on our next Friday's Q&A. Remember, extraordinary lives are not found, they're built. I'll see you right here next time on Built For It.